So there we start again, because I was recording a while ago, like 2 hours, and then I wanted to discuss all these more than 50 add-ons in Blender market, and I thought I'd do that quickly in a video. But I was not even halfway through this list, and I was already 2 hours. So I got really tired, and I need to start over again. So I start over again, and then my kids made some noise, and then I have to start again. So this is the last time. I'm not going to cut and paste anything, so I can make mistakes. My apology of bear with me. Sometimes people come to me and they ask, oh, can you promote this add-on for me? Very sometimes it happens that I have to say a no to that, because I have also an audience I want to trust. I want the audience to trust me. I also promote add-ons. I'm not an affiliate, so what happens here is that I just show you a list about add-ons I'm enthusiastic about. That's what I wanted to say. So you see here we are on Blender Market under my orders. You see 6 pages of orders, so that's quite a lot of add-ons since 2018. And yeah, sometimes you notice that some add-ons are not compatible anymore. So I wanted to have an overview of that, and also a little bit of financial picture. Let me undo this filter. There's a filter somewhere, Blender version. Alright, so I have here select everything like that and sort from date. It starts with line 5 and ends with line 139. I spent over the years a bit more than $2,000 and ended up with, well, I mean, that's worth now $3,000 something. Well, sometimes I get an add-on cheaper because I'll promote the add-on. But on the other hand, sometimes like Decal Machine, I bought it for $20 instead of $50. I think it's a good idea. I filtered my Blender version, so I select that. I select Blender 3.0 and I start with the cheapest one. Maybe you are interested in cheap but interesting add-ons. So I have loads of add-ons. A few of them I find interesting, and those are the ones I want to talk about. Add-on template, if you want to code, then this can be handy. It's just $2. Then PhysicsGen. Yes, so sometimes you forget how to do a fluid setup or smoke or another physics. And with this add-on you have a few presets. You can click a preset and then you can click the randomize button to change the physics simulation. So that's a bit faster than looking up tutorials, because yeah, if you have a working simulation, you look at the settings and change the settings. And this is only yeah, $4.50. It is not a huge add-on, but just handy. GrabDoc, think about something like a Decal Machine, and maybe you can see here GrabDoc, so you can bake normals, bake height, ambient occlusion. No examples here. Oh yeah, here you see it. So you can bake those kinds of maps, and then you can add it there. That might be pretty handy. What I like is, yeah, if you dive into coding, then I think this is a good one to have an overview. I learned something from it. Tesselator, I use the quad remesher. Quad remesher is very good. Yeah, let's do here metabel. So I have to do very quickly because yeah, a while ago I was busy for like 2 hours. So I have the quad remesher. That's this one. Let's change this to 2000 things and then remesh it. Exceeded. Let's switch over to wireframe, and you see the quad remesher makes a nice topology. Let me check how the face loops are. Alright, so the face loops are kind of connected mostly. Alright, and let's compare this with the Tesselator. Tesselator is a cheap one. Pardon. So I go on quads resolution. I don't know. Let's try 20. No symmetry. Let's try that. It's actually quite funny because it is using particles. I found it very unique. It's not bad. If you compare this with the other remeshers we have in Blender, then you will see it's a pretty nice results. Alright, so that's it. I keep it short. And the next one is construction lines morphocat copy key transform. Copy key transform. I like that. It reminds me of dynamic parent. I think you have also an add-on like Grungit. There's also an add-on called Serum Tool, who can do things like that, and there are more add-ons. But this is one £9. You have to check if there's something for you. Then WISP Fileshare, I tried that a while ago. That's a good documentation, it's very nice. If you do it in EEVEE, you go to volumetrics, put this a bit down, and yeah, the documentation tells you everything about the setup also here in the physics panel. So that's pretty handy, and the Fileshare looks good. Yeah, the best I've seen. Outfits. If you load an audio file, you want to animate. You want to animate any property in Blender, you can do that with Outfits. Anti-tile. If you work with UVs, then I'm not sure. I think you need UVs. I'm not sure if it works with box mapping. But yeah, it is sometimes annoying if you have PBR texture. I use Quicksilver Bridge. I have to show that in a moment as well, so I'll load that up. Yeah, and then you want to use anti-tile. Sometimes I use that if I see there is tiling. Boundary aligned remesh, that's very handy. I'll show you what it is. Boundary aligned remesh. So you see here edges, and often when you remesh, the edges got deformed, not with the boundary aligned remesh. Hence the name boundary, I think. You can get nice topology like this. Here's a bit less, but if you change the length of the edge, and that's the setting, then you can get like that. Alright. Power manage. Yeah, you see that I have, for example, this is my old Blender. Blender 2.81, you see here loads of tabs like that, and under each tab I have different add-ons. For example, I here on the mat for materials, I have all kinds of add-ons that work with materials. O2 is for organic modeling, because this one organic modeling, and that was the tab was full, so I made O2. And all kinds of assets, and I don't know what the L1 is exactly. That is the most common used add-ons like that. So if I'm not filtering the add-ons, you can do that here under this tab, and then you go on a workspace, and there says filter add-ons, so you can filter your add-ons there. So if I don't do that, if I don't filter the add-ons, then you get a tab like this, and you cannot read it anymore. You have to click and scroll like that. And yeah, for the Blender developers, they find that not a priority. They say, yeah, you can, that isn't. The developers can also put their add-on everywhere. They can put it here, and they can put it there and there, not only on tab. But yeah, I hope to develop an add-on which can do that, but there is an add-on. That's Power Manage, so you can start up only some add-ons like that. Alright. So yeah, what happened is, well, I did this Blender 2.83, and I got loads of add-ons. It cost a lot of time to set it up, and too many add-ons, and I was more busy with updating the add-ons, check on the forums, and then learn again what the add-on, what did it do, because I didn't use it. I have to look it up, look at documentation. So that was, at the end, it is not that productive to have that many add-ons. So I got a nervous breakdown, and after a nervous breakdown for a few months, I didn't touch a Blender. So, but we are back on track since last month, and I use Blender 3.1, and I decided, yeah, we have to do that really different. So now I have just 2 tabs with add-ons, and that's it. So maybe yeah, I'm going to remove if I'm not using really an add-on, but I think it's enough now. And it works much faster because I don't need to look up all the updates and install again, and when there is a new Blender version, install all those add-ons with the settings. Yeah, so that's much better, and I hope I can help you finding the best add-on, and also some tips maybe. Now let's go back to the list, because I really have to go fast. So that was Power Manage. Then you have the Angle tool. Yeah, sometimes I need to make modular assets, and then the angle is very precise. Tool, and this one helps me to make angles like that. There are several ways, but there's a little bit faster. Alright, so power backup. Yeah, you see I had a very large add-ons, like I had Transportation, Grassblade, Vegetation, Botaniq and Traffic. Those are huge add-ons, and they're super quality. So there are 2 developers, one is B Production, one is Botaniq. If you look for quality assets, then look for these, Vegetation and Transportation. But to make a backup of this one, I believe I have here Transportation and Vegetation. But to make a backup of this, I need a bigger hard drive like that. Then cable rate, yeah, cable rate is nice to have. There's also curve basher, one of those two. That doesn't matter much, I believe, but it's handy to have an add-on at least. For example, yeah, at the moment I have here curve basher because I wanted to compare that with the cable rater, and I have to turn off the wireframe. So that's pretty nice. You can do all things with that. I'm not going into that, but at least, yeah. And what I mean is having an add-on to make cables is nice. Oh yeah, you can also do that with Fluent. And so if you plan to buy Fluent, maybe you want to check Fluent first and then play with it, because it has also cables. And then, oops, what happens? Why is that? Oh, there's another Blender version. Oh, right. So I have to go to another tab. Turn off wireframe there. And this is Fluent. It can make a cable also like that. Yeah, I forgot this menu. The whole Fluent is intuitive, except I have to figure out here the cable because I don't use it that much. So I have to figure out that one. But you can make cables with that, so I'll check that out. Then we have add-ons to make instant materials like that, like Instamat, Crunchit, Smudger Pro, those add-ons. I find these all good. What I have, I'll show you. Oh, I don't want that one. Let's go back here. What happened? So let's go over here. Oh yeah, I have GitOps bevel. That is, if you have a model like this, I go to a file. Sorry, import. I go to my Fox. I connect in here. Yeah, if you have a detailed mesh, more detailed than this, and sometimes it's so detailed that you cannot add a bevel, because yeah, too many details, then the bevels are overshooting. Then instead of beveling it, you can also bake the bevels, so the geometry is the same. You can bake it, so that's what you can use GitOps bevel for. You can choose normal bevel, warm bevel, and do some settings for the thickness of the bevel. And then you bake the normal map, the mask, set the resolution, and then you can create the material, and then you can adjust the material. Oh yeah. You need to unpack it, and for UV packing, what I do normally is I do a smart UV project, and then I go to UV editing, and then I have the UV Packmaster 2 or 3 maybe. Then what I do is I click heuristic, and then I go to packaging device because my CPU is slow. I use this one. I change maybe the margin to something like that, I believe, and yeah, that's right. I press escape and then I do overlap check, no overlapping things, and here is one invalid UV. I think what I do is just resize it. Maybe you can replace it, so I don't know. And then you check it, and then you see no invalid faces found, and you have good resolution. Everything is covered, almost everything. So you have a good UV unwrap. All right. So and then we have Smudger Pro. Smudger Pro. Remove unused data. Then if you have Smudger Pro, you go to make the slot active, then you add with you have to do this first. Well, I make this active and then add Smudger Pro setup, and then you can add dust, smudge, scratch, wear, but wear needs to bake. A droplet and utilities, and that is to, for example, to bake the whole complex node setup into just 3 textures like that. Smudger works that way. There is another add-on, and that is Grungit. Grungit works a little bit different. You need to save the blend file, then there is a button what type of wear do you want. There are 2 options, and then you click generate, and then it will bake the few textures like the bevel, etc., and the cavity. And then it creates a node group, and then you can change that. You go into the node group and change the settings. So you get approximately same kind of result, but the workflow is different. Both is good. And then I have also the material nodes add-on, where you can, that's my own add-on, where you can bake maps like AO mask, and then from bottom to top, noisy dust on top layers, a bevel, or pointiness, and if you have a vertex group painted, you can do that as well. So you can bake that, bake that, and then you can use it in this kind of building blocks to make your own materials like that. So all the nodes, they have the same kind of output and input. They all have shader output, color roughness, normal output, and they have almost all have color input, normal input, and the same kind of setup. So yeah, one of my favorite is this one, and that is to make variation on the, like a color variation, saturation variation, and to make material look less sterile. And I come back to EEVEE Production Suite later. We need to go on Instamat. Oh, Instamat, that's also a nice add-on. That I use that when I just model and I want to have a better looking shader than this, because yeah, shading is not a lot of modeling is not a lot of fun with such a thing. So if I press Shift F in my case, I've enabled in another tab. So that's a minor point about having tabs. Shift F, I can, for example, choose for plastic, and then adjust the color, 2 clicks usually, like that, and then matte or cheap. That is nice, and then yeah, works a bit nicer. So it's quickly, and you can quickly adjust it. So quick adjust, I can change color, let's saturate it, maybe a bit darker. Alright. Yeah, and you can store settings, and it works with Smudger Pro. You can combine those. So you have those, and what I like is also Serum Tool tie. That is the one who has also that dynamic parent-like thing. That is Serum Tool tie. Yeah, that is also something like that. Maybe there's no GIF here. Oh yeah, here, not GIF, yeah. And it has a little bit more than that key copy transform add-on. So I'll go back because a lot of animations here. Let me just go over here. Then what I also like is yeah, curve brusher like Cable Rater. A ColorBox, yeah, there was an add-on, and now I forgot which one that was. To organize some colors. I like it a lot. I think I have it here. So let me go to math. I think but that add-on is not compatible anymore with yeah, that was this add-on. Let me see. Oh, I cannot show you the source. This add-on. Yeah, something with color matte. But yeah, so the other one was then a ColorBox. So I have now ColorBox, which is compatible with Blender 3.0. So what I like is you have to check. Oops. Alright, so I collected some palettes online on the internet. Then you can load those, and then you can make a color ramps, for example. And you can add those color ramps into your node editor, and it's possible that you have like a color scheme like that for your models, and then yeah, the color swapper is the color swapper is that. No, I remember it. So that works like that. So you have the base color, and then you say something here. No, I forgot. I have to check how that works. But there was a way that you can click here, refresh, add to color swapper 1, alright, and then I can change that. Anyway, you can switch colors into the scene. Render manager add-on render set. I have quite some add-ons like that, but it turned out that I'm not really producing movies or long clips. Usually I produce like very short animation for post on Twitter like that. So I actually never used those add-ons extensively, so it's hard for me to say something about it. yeah, I remember that this one was a bit hard for me to get through. So then it takes me a little bit time that has a higher learning curve. Also, Rigid Systems add-on is very nice if you want to have a turnbuckle, you want to make animations with constraints and how to call it, mechanic hard surface rigging. Maybe yeah, also it takes me a lot of effort to dive into that. I managed to use some of two systems of that, and it's very nice, but it takes you time of what takes me time to figure out how it works. Autorig Pro, very popular add-on if you make character animations. Definitely look at that, but I suppose you know that add-on. Everyone knows it, I think, because for a long time on Blender market you see that the Autorig Pro is most of the time on the front page together with Hardops, Box Cutter, Mass Machine often, and lately Random Flow. Yeah, I tried Random Flow, but yeah, it's not really my thing. Yeah, I really like Hardops, Box Cutter, Autorig Pro, Mass Machine. I like also Fluent. Then I like Botaniq, excellent quality. Mesh Machine, I love it. Awesome features in that. Fluent Power Trip, good. Deco Machine, nice. I don't have that. I was thinking my CPU is not good enough. I'm not so fond of extreme PBR and Axis because for PBR textures there's only one way to go, and that is Quicksilver Bridge. That is this add-on. Those are the guys who have special equipment, and they have a consistent workflow to make to scan the albedo, the roughness, etc. So I import that into Blender. I show you right now. So let's say the forest path. I am going to download the forest path. So let me get rid of that one. Forest path, I add a plane. Multiply it, resize it 5 times. In my case, now I want to get rid of that T panel, that M panel, make a bit more space. Like that. I need glasses. So we have downloaded one. Which one was it? Oh yeah, well, huh? Yeah, alright, here this one, forest path. And then it's going to export to Blender. Alright, let's check this out. And then I can select that here, forest path. So we have that in Blender without any effort, but things go wrong here because Quicksilver Bridge is plugging these nodes in the wrong sockets. For example, normal map and emission strength, the roughness map and the specular, the albedo. Yeah, the albedo is good. So, and there is no mapping node at all. So if you have seen with like 20 textures, then it's a lot of work to do that over and over again. For every material you need to fix that at mapping nodes. So I made an add-on for that is Quixel Helper. So you can fix that, fix the normal. Look here what happens. So I click on fix normal, and you see that will fix those inputs. And now there's clear code. It's on, but no one wants clear code, I suppose. So that's it. You can also, I love box mapping, because then I don't need to bother about the UV. So I turn that down like that. Yeah, you can change the normal. There are some extra features that I use very frequent to set up a scene like that. That's why I added those snapping and the camera and primitives color management there. So you have that. Now I forgot what I wanted to show. Maybe I was here. Oh yeah. So yeah, that is my thing, that I don't like add-ons that use the textures, the PBR textures we know they have available online. Maybe the add-on is good, but I really need or PBR textures from Quixel Megascan or procedural materials. Oh, and I have to write it down here because I want to tell you something about that procedural materials. So that is about affix nodes. That's and yeah, and material nodes add-on. I come back to that later. So machine. Simple cloth, yeah, that's nice to have. I will show you that. So we see a cylinder. I'll go up. Let's make this colliders, I think, and then yeah, I suppose not to show you that because that takes awful time every time, but I try to do it fast. Then create a cloth, you can do something simple like that, and I always like to self collision and then just play like that. So they can all do things like that, but there are also cloth. Alright, so I want to do it too fast. Alright, so you have here a library as a browser, as I called Singleled Cloth. And you see here all kinds of cloths. You can drop that into the scene. Then oh yeah, alright, so I think you can grab it up, no? Why not? Oh. Anyway, so then let's say you have a character, you drop that cloth, the character needs to be a collision. Then you click on play, yeah, and then you see that it's it sews together that the cloth, and but it takes a lot of experiment to get that well on a character with all those settings. Sometimes works one of the first times, sometimes you're busy for a long time, depends also on the size and distance and a lot of things, but usually I just quickly set up different presets of cloths like that, like this here, like a tablecloth or some maybe effect. I find it nice to have. Then Yeah, box cutter Hardops, of course, everyone knows it. Good add-on. For me, it's because I'm not really modeling very complex things. I'm more into materials and lighting and yeah, a little bit of coding. But I'm not going to model every day for hours. So I think for me, I'm happy with Fluent because it's a little bit compact. Yeah, it feels a bit compact, a bit easier to work with. I mean, yeah, I can use a Hardops and box cutter, but it has also a learning curve if you want to know all the features. And a while ago we've seen that the more you have, like what I have here in Blender 2.8, the more you have, the more time you spend on all kinds of things. So yeah, sometimes simpler is better. Well, it depends completely what you want, but both add-ons are very good, all add-ons. Scale of 5, that's a good, long time ago I tried it, so I have to dive into it again. Cables Pro, oh, human generator, yeah, human generator, I have that, works perfect. I like that a lot. So if you haven't seen it, I think I have it here. Let's get rid of that. Oh, I have it in the first tab. So I hope the Blender developers really do something about the tabs here. No, the second tab then. Tesselator, bevel, RP, quad remesh. Yeah, here it is. Yeah, so basically you click on male or female, and then Asian, Black, Caucasian, Hispanic. I wonder about Latinos. Is this maybe a Latino? Alright, anyways, yeah, you can generate new human, but yeah, the layout's very good. If you use it the first time, you get a tutorial. You can skip also the tutorial, and yeah, there are warnings, there are tip tools, etc. Yeah, see here, next, goes to the next human. I mean, there's a lot of thought about the design of the product. Tips, suggestions. I'm not going to show it now because and we don't have time for that, but yeah, I love the add-on, and also Oliver J. Post is a very thoughtful creator. He makes a good, I love the marketing and the customer service also. I think he's pretty smart, yeah. But I can say it, I'm not smart myself, so. Then you've Packmaster. Yeah, we've seen it a while ago. Let me see. Yeah, K-Cycles, if you go into Cycles, I'm much more into EEVEE, because I will show you. Let me. Oh, yeah, I don't have any assets right now, because I just started again with Blender. I have an asset manager, but let's do that. That was here. That. go here, MS. So I'm going to show you how quick you can render in EEVEE and how good it looks without any noise in a few seconds. Sometimes people don't believe me, but but it is. So first thing, you choose a setup. This one's pretty okay. Oh, how's that? So if you press such a setup, it adds everything into the scene, like a backdrop, 2 light rigs. This is one light rig over here, and here is another one. That's another 3 light backdrop, 2 probes. You click on the camera, look for the camera, and then the first thing you do is you go to render settings, bake and direct light, and go to the render tab. And I see that the HDRSI on. I don't want that. Yeah, maybe a tiny bit on. Don't try that at home. And then I don't like the camera setting. I want a bit more perspective, like that. So let's say unlock the view. Yeah, the scene is not that interesting. I wish I could show you a little bit more. So, and if you shift or right click, you put your free cursor there. If you click add depth of field, it adds an empty there. And if you go to the camera, you see that the depth of field is switched on and it is using this empty over there. And you can adjust that here. If you're not happy with the light, you can also switch over to something else like that. And you can turn around. You can keep on changing. So you can find an interesting light setup. For example, this one. Back to view. All right. So, and then you can play with the color management like that. You can bump up the exposure. You can control the smoke like that. You can control the lights, and you also have a library of procedural materials. So instead of this PBR material, I can also use this one. So that is from the material nodes add-on. Comes also with the EEVEE production suite. So if I go to material nodes. Wait, I'm going much too deep into the details again. Okay, I can do the other way around like that. Okay, what I want to show is how good it renders. I put it on 720p. I click on render image and look at that. What happens with volumetrics. And let me get rid of that one, which is a bit more resourceful to render. It's just 2 seconds, 2.5 seconds, and do you see any? No, I don't see any noise. Right, so you can make awful animations in a short time. And you cannot do that with cycles, because even if you use the denoiser and you go to animate, you see those kind of annoying things from the still not 100%. While if I animate this, it's good. So sometimes I don't understand why people are so focused on cycles. Oh yeah, and then if you go to compositing, also compositing nodes will come with the EEVEE production suite. I always like a frame. I add a frame here like that. Then I add often something like this. So I can few presets. I can make it a cool day like that. Well, it makes the picture a bit cooler. And I can also use a mixture of a dispersion. Because I use those quite a lot, I mix those together. I bump a little bit up the saturation. Don't tell Troy Sabatka. I'm kidding. But I mean, don't tell the experts that you bump up the saturation. They will say no, 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 no. But yeah, I do that sometimes. Alright, enough about the EEVEE production suite. What I like else is oh yeah, nebula generator and plating generator. Mark's Kingsnorth is also a very nice developer. His products are a bit low priced, and he's very enthusiastic about Blender and coding. Let's take a look at what kind of products he has. Mark Kingsnorth. This is on my wish list, these two. So I want to buy this one. Unfortunately, at the moment, the finance is not that super. Plating generator, that's a nice add-on. That's also on my wish list. Curves to mesh for a long time. I never bought it. And I think that's that. Yeah, those two are nice. No, next one. Hardops bevel. I've showed you that. I've showed you. Yeah, sometimes my English is. Oops. No, I want to show you the. I made some renders. Oh yeah, so yeah, this is the material nodes add-on. There's well, this you can make a lot of things with it, but this one looks very for maybe gaming engines. It's just one example. This one is Grungit. But again, you can make many effects. This is just one effect. And this is Smudger. I like to work with Smudger. It's nice. Oh yeah, but Grungit, what I like is you can bake your texture. It has a baker. So I will show you that actually in a moment. So these are the PBR textures, Quixel Megascan. And this is then Hardops bevel. Am I repeating myself? Yeah, because I recorded a few times in a row and then I forgot if it was in the previous video or in this video. But alright, so this Hardops bevel, if you have a mesh with a lot of details, then you cannot bevel it because the bevels are overshooting. So instead of that, you can bake the normals. The bevels, so it looks as if it is beveled. It's not. The geometry is not beveled, but it looks like. So I use here Hardops bevel. Hardops bevel make the edges smaller or beveled, and add here this worn out lighter things. Well, you can adjust or darker worn out edges, and on top of that I use the material nodes add-on to add even more variety. Alright, then Hardops bevel. Then what I like else is yes, also good monograph. It has also offset animation. Yeah, that's what I like. It has a lot of options. Only there's non add-on. You just install and work with it without reading the documentation. You need to dive in it. Well, at least I need to dive in it because I'm not familiar with everything. What I like else, Render Plus again. That is also a renderer and manager, and since I don't really make a whole movie or whole production, just small clips, like an ad on Twitter, like that, short ads. I didn't use it. Maybe later I will use it. Animax, yeah, has you can also make kind of offset animation. It has presets, but you can also make custom animations. Yeah, it's also nice to work with. Yeah, definitely EEVEE material system. That's also good. Although I don't like usually the add-ons that use PBR textures other than Quixel Megascans. Definitely EEVEE material system that's alright. Sometimes I use that. So for example, why not to see some? And those are all the assets I have at the moment. So simplify surface, turn that wireframe off, and then I go to GitOps, and there you have your EEVEE, definitely EEVEE material system. Mouthful. So concrete rough add material, shade smooth, and that's a perfect. I mean, that's not too bad. Nice. Yeah, you can check that. It's also interesting. I don't know how much that is. Definitely. $25. $25. Oh yeah. What's that? Color scale. So I think you have to go to the shader editor to adjust that. Yeah, I think it's good. Well, the best is of course this one. But definitely EEVEE material system is better than the other online available textures, because I will show you what I mean. So EEVEE shaders. So what I mean is if that the PBR texture final line, well, they didn't use the same devices to measure the albedo and the roughness, and with the same devices and not with the same consistency. So then you end up with these are PBR materials, the final line. This is wood, these are tiles, and you see it's and yeah, look at this material, this white and black. I mean, yeah, it's cacophony. And this these are procedural, but these materials are calibrated. That means I created those materials in consistent environment, and that's why you see there is consistency. Well, it's hard to say, but I guess you understand what I mean. But these materials from definitely EEVEE material system, I think it's alright, because I believe I compared that with these textures as well, and I found that these are not bad. There are maybe just a few materials that I think, oh, that's a bit off. Maybe this might be very light. No, I think it's good. Let's check that out. So we go to Animax. We have here mid-gray scene, and we can bump up the thing, and we go to color management and go to false color. We see that this monkey is, oh sorry, I have to go to the material preview, and then I see there the run settings 1. Oh, vacant direct light. I have to go back to false color again, false color, and we see the monkey is in that gray area somewhere, somehow. Some gray, so we are pretty good. So I mean, now we have a kind of reference. We know what is what. Well, where this bed of value is somewhere. All right. Look. So, and I think that looks pretty believable. Yeah. Let's go on. Again, way too slow. Got a long way to go. Then I like, yeah, rentals. I have to say something about that. There are some add-ons, they have a variety of tools, maybe some for sculpting, physics, modeling, and this and that. I think that is handy if you plan not to have that many add-ons. Imagine that I have like Blender 2.8, and all those add-ons had a variety of things. That would absolutely not work, because then would be a complete mess. What I mean is, if you plan not to invest in that many add-ons, then this add-on might be something for you, because it has a lot to offer. Rentals, but if you have already loads of add-ons, then maybe it's a bit redundant. Animation layers, I love it. So you can make an animation, for example, so walking, but it's also wiggling, and also wiggling the head. And you can put all those parts on different layers, and then you can adjust the strength, for example, and mix it. What I like also is, yeah, the plating generator and Grables. We talk about that. Smudger Pro. Pupa, yeah, that is nice, because you have a lot of presets. Yeah, so if you have a character, you can then assign them those presets. I had one small problem though, and that was I had character from, what was that? That free online thing was that. That's my favorite. Let's check that. Oh, human generator. What? No, not human generator. Ah, make human. Yeah. So make human, and then I use that with a pupper. So, but there was something wrong with the shoulders. So I asked support. I went here, said ask a question, and I talked with Louisart, and he recorded a video for me and showed me how I can fix that. So that was pretty nice. Yeah, voxel heat diffuse scanning. Sometimes the automatic weight from bones to the character doesn't work properly on blenders, or sometimes it's not that accurate. Check out voxel heat diffuse scanning, what that offers. I use it. What I like as node code, that is a very special add-on for me, because that's how I learned how to code. Let's take a look at that node code. To code. Yeah, the story is that I tried many things some years ago. I think that must be like maybe a bit more than 3 years ago that I started to code. I couldn't get the hang of it. Reading the Blender API documentation, and didn't get it. Well, a little bit. But then I got this node code, and there is it explains how you can make your own add-on, what steps. And while I was doing that, I said, so that's how it works. And from that template, I started with the EEVEE Express, and EEVEE Express, that is this one. And I worked for a long time on that add-on. And now I have way more EEVEE Express. So I have quite some products: Voxel Importer, Modulator, Quixel Helper. Those are add-ons. And then the EEVEE Production Suite, Blocker, Morse Gen add-on. If you have profiles, you can make a profile format, and then click a button, and then it generates all kinds of modular assets with curves. Yeah, those add-ons. Then there's a node to code, yeah, and fade. I love that. I love that one. How long am I talking? More than an hour. I think I cannot show it, but yeah, check that, because you can make a nice toony environments like that, quite fast. I like this one, that kind, and you can make a fog inside. You can make it look foggy like that here, and then it really looks awesome. Comes with assets and shaders. Alright, I like also Mesh Machine, awesome. Yeah, let's do this. So I'm not going to do anything, but if you there are a few very nice options. I have to go to the right tab. Alright, so there is offset cut, very nice. So if you have a boolean, a circle, then you select the edge, you make an offset cut, you make that wider so that you can make a bevel over there. Then you have a boolean cleanup to merge vertices that are too close. Sometimes if vertices are too close, then You can make a bevel because then the bevel is overshooting. And so you can also make quad corners. That's better topology. You can fix a lot with the normals and stash. You check that out. I think maybe you know. Oh yeah, now with the plugs. So if you have a curvature and then you have an asset, you can plug that asset on the curvature and it will have the shape of that curvature. Auto-Rig Pro, awesome, yeah. Then K-cycles if you work in cycles. Decommission, very nice done. At the moment I don't use it, but I'm going to use it most likely later. Then, yeah, all these add-ons like car transportation, human generator, awesome products. Let's see if I forgot something. So these are high quality products here. If you look for high quality assets for vegetation or transport, take a look at that. Then I forgot something and I wrote it down a while ago, and that was FX nodes. Let's go into that because that's I don't want to forget that one. Actually, I wanted to start with that add-on, but it is available on Gumroad, and I don't know if my colleague Ian will provide a code for you to get this also with discount, like also with the spring sales. Oh yeah, so let's go over here. Let's go here, FX nodes, Blender stuff, then Animax, then we go to FX nodes and the nodes like that. Alright, check this out. So we go to the shader editor, FX nodes. You see loads of nodes here, and you see mappings, shapes, utilities, patterns, and fractals. So I made a screenshot of all those links. So you see what is it? Mappings, shapes, patterns, utilities, and fractals. For example, if you that's a bit faster. So well, this basically, can I make this a bit bigger like that? Alright, so you see here a shape. You can make I'll show you a few shapes here. Then let's go to shapes, capsule. Oh wait, that takes too long. So you have a shape, zipper ellipse, so that is something like a ellipse, and you put that into a tiling. They can create a pattern like that. Now let me explain that because that's not clear. Let's say someone is painting a shape like that. Do you see it? Like that. So most add-ons, they care about those pixels, the lines. Or the color of the ink, and they do it pixel wise. They change the shape or something. But what if you're an expert in cutting the paper, maybe 4 times, or in stripes, or maybe in a spiral, and then you rearrange all those blocks like that? You can make very complicated patterns with just realigning that those pieces you cut out, and that is what texture coordinate and mapping and tiling is. So you make a shape. You can have several shapes. You put a boolean, so you can create any shape in any kind of pattern you can combine this. Let me skip through the, some screenshots. So there's a symmetry bricks mapping. Well, that's a bit a common thing, but that is handy. This is like this Keanu Reeves with the original picture and a blurred, and then mix that, so you get kind of a bloom effect. That is a mapping from to put something on a sphere. By the way, flipbook, you can look that up. Well, it's like an animation, and you can define with this flipbook how you want to project that on the cube, and you can define the frame. This one, green wrap, you can plug in any kind of distortion shape like that, and you can deform the any texture. In this case, Keanu Reeves can. Here you see a halftone. You have different settings for that. A mirror, also another kind of mapping for cylinders like that. Making a radial, so you have a shape. We see also a grid. You can combine all those things. You can get all kinds of patterns. Tree planner, that is like box mapping. We've seen that a while ago, box mapping, but now we do that with procedural textures. Normally that is, I believe it's not possible, but well, I don't know how to do that, but with this node you can do that. That is called the Tree Planner Blend. Then you can also make pixels like that, wheels and that. So those are only the mappings. We didn't talk about yet about the shapes, the patterns and utilities. You can make a lot of shapes, and the shapes look like this. And you can combine them like with a boolean or a mix, and every shape is adjustable. So you can make any shape, I believe. Yeah, you should be able to make any shape like that, and any kind of pattern. And besides that, there are some utilities. You can make here. I made a boolean. Alright, compare color. Alright, so if you have a landscape, you can make a slope. Normally, I had to go to vertex group, bake the curvature, something with tissue, I forgot. Image edge detection. Yeah, mix layer, I'm not sure. 2 layers, you can mix it. A normal blend. Fileshare, yeah. Again, I used Keanu Reeves. But normally you have done a texture like this. This, I think like one of those, I think. Or another texture of a landscape thing like. And then you can, if you have a heat map, I think it is, you can define where the water is, like that. So that's a puddle shader. A random per object, that's super handy. So you can make a slight, all these materials have the same material, but you can give each material slightly different property. In this case, different color, albedo color. Yeah, and here I can animate with the counter. I can animate, I believe, the things. I forgot. I have to double check that. Oh yeah. So each object has a number, and then you can assign those colors to that, to each object. That's handy. Not only the color, I think. Alright, so, oh yeah, and this is, what you see here is not a text object, but it's straight into the shader. This is a text node. You put the text, and then you can put the text aside, etc. So there is no text object. This is in the shader. Alright, and patterns, quite some patterns like that. So you have here crosswave and something like that, hexagon tiles, and you can all those strange mappings. For example, you can, if you have a circle shape or so, you can project that in each of the hexagon tiles, or the other way. So what I mean is the other way around. For example, you can have Keanu Reeves in each hexagon tiles instead of what we see now, Keanu Reeves over all the hexagon tiles. Knurling, if I say that correctly, purlin, and you can combine that all. And you see most of them, like you have threads, so they work mostly on the level, yeah, on the other side of the equation, I think. So that means most of the nodes, they work faster, because on this side the shader needs more computation than on this side over here, if I'm correct. So that's great. You can make awesome things like that, and of course you can combine that. So if you have those, for example this one or that one, yeah, you can make a grunge on top of that, or make variations with the material nodes add-on, or Crunchit, or Grunge. Yeah, that should be possible. Yeah, so anything is possible, as long as in most cases, if you have the principled shader, if that's it's open, I mean not in node group, and most add-ons can work with that. So long talk, almost 2 hours again, and let me see, I think I had all that. So let me go back to here. Then there's an article here on Blender Addons.org. So you see some tips how to what you can look at. Of course, you check out the Blender version reviews, but it doesn't work always. So you can read it here, and you can think about if you use the product actually. For example, there is an add-on to make snow, but will you actually make snow every week? Or there is an add-on to rip cloth. Well, are you going to make rip cloth every week? So what I mean, some things are very important what you are doing every time over and over again, like you always work with camera, you always work with textures. Well, I think most of us, modeling, we all do modeling, I guess, and yeah, render out, render settings, and yeah, animations. So yeah, you think about it, what you are doing over and over again, and check if there's an add-on for that. Let me see if I forgot something. I checked all those. Yeah, I check also this one, and that's awesome. I love it. Until I check that Tesselator, yeah. EEVEE. That one case, I guess. Yeah. yeah, I think I discussed everything. So I'm going to post this on YouTube. I'm not going to cut anything because yeah, that takes quite some time to load it in Blender and have to render it out. So bear with me. And yeah, so thanks for watching, and then I'll see you in the next video. Alright, have a good time, the spring sales and the add-ons. Alright.